Useless agent is on your TV, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it. Useless agent is on your Facebook, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it. Like I said, never get tired of that. Okay. Big episode today. Whew. So important, I don't even want to wear my glasses. You know why? Because I'm too stoned and I can't see anyway. So, let's keep the tradition going with our honorary welcome to the show bowl. Alright. Okay, so now I stopped doing so much promotion with the show with anything involving STS because I was focusing on other things and other projects still involving the Useless Agent name, and still we're still branching out. I mean, we're only in double digits right now for the Useless Agent page. Trying to do everything we can when it comes down to new graphics, basically new ideas. Of course, we have the red and white logo. That is, to me, I think it's a great logo. I really do. I really think it's a great logo. And Joel was kind enough to do that for us, but we don't want to just give out one single logo, so it's really up to anybody that knows how to draw if you want to help us out. And there's a uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. Send us pictures, drawings, whatever you want. We love to look at it. We love anything you guys send us. And like I said, if you want to get a free shirt, that's a good way to start. Until we open up anything like an actual merchandise table. Problem is, not enough cash flow. In Chicago we have a lot of these 1 hour teas. You see the billboards everywhere, but I've lived here for my entire life, and I don't think I've ever been to a 1 hour tea. But if you were here from let's say you just got here from Wisconsin or something, you just drove in, you would see tons of those ads. But the truth is, we it's not really popular with Chicagoans. I actually don't know where one is. Okay. What was it? This episode was supposed to be, and it is, the whole episode was based on Election Day being yesterday. And, you're always told the same crap around this time of year, around these types of seasons, that voting is, an American duty. And if it's such an American duty and it's such a civil right, then why can't criminals vote? If it's so important, if it's a human right, then why is it so hard to do? Anyone should be able to do it. If you are in America, you should be able to vote. I mean, honestly, it's a funny I honestly think if you are American and you believe in voting or whatever, then go to the freaking ballot box and you should be able to vote. You shouldn't need any card except for your ID or your actual voter card. And you should, I don't know, have a easier registry where, you know, uh, people can just vote without have. I mean, for one, people should be able to vote without worrying about rednecks hanging out in their uh, parking lot waiting for you to basically so they could scare you into voting Republican. I mean, I heard about that going on in Arizona, and you know, I don't know anyone in Arizona. So if anyone lives in Arizona, is it really that bad? Because with Northerners, and I want to say especially with Midwesterns, we tend to see them as that way. Like, people don't know New York. You would see it as a gritty, street. The smoke in the alleys, Batman creeping up behind you. You get certain images of, based on its reputation. So, to anyone out there in you know what? I am going to put my glasses back on. Anyone from Arizona, I would love to hear what you guys have to say when it comes down to this, because it's an interesting thing how you guys are always on the news and it's never any good. Like, I'm sure some of you are embarrassed, and I'm sure some of you are proud of that. Either way, I would love to hear the opinion. Like, is it really as racist as it sounds? Because, my family lives out in Arizona. I have a lot of family out in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, and like I said, I've never left Chicago, so I don't know any of them. And all of them are Hispanic. Uh, if not, we're Italian, but in that area, it's all Hispanic, and I have cousins named like Gutierrez, and I have, all these different family members that I only know on Facebook because, they're just they're not here, so I am just getting to know them. Yeah. Hi, Bernice. When I was a kid, we had the families of, neighbors. Neighbors were family because, you know, you have a neighbor that you're really cool with and your dad, drinks beer with, you probably call him uncle, whatever. So, in Chicago, we tend to see Arizona as a kind of a scary place. And I really want to know if it is as bad as they say it is. But the whole point was based surely on the fact that yesterday was, voting day. Now, in America, we have what's called the Electoral College. And the Electoral College gets 3/4 majority of the vote. So therefore, the popular vote has never had any meaning in my mind, because as long as I've been alive, the popular vote has never counted. And when they say we do, I'd love to challenge that, because whoever's watching, do you see we have a new viewer up? If you're watching, do you actually believe that our votes matter? Do you really believe that in a presidential election? Remind you, I'm not talking about we're not talking about judges or anything like that. But I think one of the most important aspects of our voting system, if it's going to include any kind of electoral college, shouldn't we at least have a right on who is put in said college, how do we have no say in the one group that gets 3/4 majority of our presidential vote? So, what you're saying is my vote is a cute little suggestion that you're never really going to look at. I mean, they count the votes, don't get me wrong, they count the votes, like, because that's what gets views and attention, and honestly, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I say I lost someone on that one, but I'm sorry. We don't matter, and I really wish we did. And what's sad, in my opinion, is that the judges, your community, your actual, day by day, is really affected by your community. And when it comes down to your community, those are the elections that you really should be attending, is the ones where you vote for judges, because how every judge has every judge is capable of being on that Supreme Court. Every judge is a judge for the rest of their lives. You have to remember, there is no term for a judge. A judge is a judge forever. I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I think it's wrong. I think there should be a term on judges. If you haven't judged a case in 2 years, why do you get to just come back and be responsible for the future of someone's life? I just do not understand it. And I would love to hear your feedback. I can't wait to read comments on this, because it has never made any sense to me. And so someone had mentioned, well, it matters a little bit, and I'm like, nothing can matter a little bit. It either matters or it doesn't. And I didn't want to belittle him, because it's not my job in life is to belittle people. Your job in life should be to uplift everyone around you. Your job in life is to help your brothers and sisters. So, when put in the position, I didn't want to belittle him, but I did a little bit, because I basically just said, I will give you $20 if you can just name a time where the popular vote has counted within the last 5 elections. And, I think he said something, well, before that. And it's like, nothing matters before that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't affect us anymore. And honestly, I don't like the idea of having a government that can't even get along to the point where a transition of power can't be done peacefully. I mean, it's so damn saddening. What other country, civilized countries, I don't mean like countries like that totally hate each other, but I mean like civilized countries. When have you ever heard of a violent transition of power, where one president leaves, another president comes in? That's it. That shouldn't be a fight. That shouldn't be a huge deal that is so detrimental to the state of one party. And again, we are trapped in a two-party system, which, in my opinion, is like a two-party democracy. That's something we used to have. Democracy is not meant to be a two-party system. I just don't. That's another problem that I have with elections. It's just a two-party system is not nearly enough to understand a proper base, especially within especially within the private sector. It just I don't know. I wonder, has anyone ever felt like their vote counted? Has anyone ever really thought they mattered in an election? I've never voted, and again, um, the only reason why I never voted was because I knew that, the voting that counts is the local and communitive offices, and offices like the attorney general, just and in judges. So I didn't want to take on that responsibility of having to learn who these judges are, what their positions were, um, what their politics were. Um, and I knew that that's what was necessary of me to make a decision. I wanted to make an informed decision. Now, the average voter is not like that. And the average voter is going to just look, is he red or blue? Not knowing what the politics are, not knowing what the plan is, if they have a plan at all. You know, I can see myself voting Republican if it made sense. If they were doing something that the Democrat was not doing. And again, it goes back to being stuck in a uh, uh, two-party system. It's not, in my opinion, it's not an effective way to govern. And it reminds me of there's a phrase that says I think democracy is the worst uh, governatory system except for all the others. Now I mean, up to a point where we agreed with that, it was a long time ago, and the country was a different place. And the sad and sick part is that the country is a different place almost weekly nowadays. We live in a constant state of change, and for the average citizen to make a critical and meaningful decision, it is a lot of responsibility. Now we talk about gubernatorial systems. You're talking about again the popular vote in general. What does it mean? What does it matter? Have we ever mattered when it came down to this system? And then, is there any way we can get out of it? Is there any way we can change it? Which the only way we can do that is if we started voting independent, which I don't see this country ever doing. Not without, I don't know, not without some sort of revolution, because if the country was on the side of intelligence, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. The side of intelligence that this country used to stand with is not the one that I see today. Um, it's like there's a new argument um, every week, and it seems like everyone is flip flopping on every issue. You know, um, to be politically correct is to be on the left side now, which used to be the right. Being politically incorrect used to be a sign of patriotism and a sign that of freedom of speech. Now it is looked at as insensitive, and I don't agree with that either. So yeah, we've talked about a lot of stuff in the last 20 minutes. It's hard to it's really hard to stay within one little uh, part of the argument, because there's so many different aspects of said argument. when you have too many politicians and you have a base that is now getting tired of politicians, they start looking for other things. Now the problem is that, in my opinion, the problem is that we're looking the wrong way. I mean, instead, we are losing our faith in politicians, that we're voting for actors and people in still within the public, still in the public eye. So they still have to be, somewhat known. But is that really the right thing? Is that really the right idea? I have no idea. Is that really where we want to be? In 20 years, we're going to be looking back, and do you really want to say that you voted for a president because, oh, well, he was funny in that one movie? I just feel like we are bound to get there at some point, where it's kind of like Idiocracy, if you've ever seen Idiocracy. The president is a professional wrestler, and his name is President Comacho, and he has this, theatrical entrance. Things are not looking very different right now. And it's when life is so comical that it is within the limits of its own parody, then parody becomes life's reflection. And, it's no longer a parody. It's just where we are. It's just society as a whole. It's retarded. I'm sorry. It's getting really, really bad. And I think within 10 years, we're probably going to be looking at the internet the same way that we look at cigarettes because of this. You have too many. I mean, we're at the point where we have so many celebrities that you don't even need to be a celebrity to be a celebrity, because you're a celebrity for being a celebrity. You see how life makes no damn sense anymore? This is my argument. This is the hell, and this horrible little microcosm has no longer stayed within that limit, and it has gone way too far. And like I said, we have people no longer looking for politicians within politics. We're now looking for actors. And I mean, if a comedian could run the country, we would have done this already. Yeah, that's just not the way to go. And if we were ever gonna vote for any kind of Hollywood personality, or any kind of celebrity, we should have voted for George Carlin, or I know there's a lot of people that are probably saying we should vote for Jon Stewart. And again, it's, do we really want to do that? I mean, if you have, and again, I'm not saying any Democrat is perfect, and I'm not saying any Republican, is even decent anymore, but it's just not as black and white as that. But when it comes down to it, I want someone that's been in this business for 20 years or more, because it's the same thing as, like, if you were to call a plumber, do you really want Jon Stewart to clean your pipes because he made some good comments about your toilet not working that well? It's, you got to think about it that way, because we should be looking for people that are informed and have a logical argument and have some sort of experience within the business of politics, because unfortunately that's why it's called politics. It's who you know. It's always going to be that. And the fact that politicians have always been rubbing shoulders with gangsters and movie stars because honestly, they all live a pretty boring life without having a party with each other. Um, there, that little circle of people have always been there, and those different types of so-called industries. Yeah, I mean, you have the criminal element, you have, the Hollywood industry, and then you have the political industry. They're not very different. Um, they're different, but they're not worlds apart here. Um, but that doesn't mean that they're the same. Okay, they're not worlds apart. They have similar businesses and similar interests, and they are around each other. But just because Frank Sinatra is rubbing shoulders with JFK doesn't mean we go vote for Frank Sinatra. And with this type of celebrity worship that this country is getting to, I mean, people are willing to lose friendships, long term relationships over arguments over someone that is basically not even real to them. But this happens now. So, in conclusion, basically, I think we should be focusing more on what truly matters outside of this box, outside of this little square that I'm in. I think we should focus on more than that, and maybe put the box away. You know, maybe not while I'm talking, but put the box away, and talk to somebody. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a bus or a train just to be ignored. It's not like I'm dancing in the middle of the thing, but we shouldn't ignore each other. I mean, we should, anytime you're on a bus or a train, you should be looking anyway because you want to know who's on that bus, who's on that train, who do you not want on that bus, who do you not want to be on that train with. So, for one, you should be alert of your surroundings anyway, but I'm talking about this in a social factor. And in order for us to be a society, we have to be civil and actually social. Does that make sense? Um, this culture of pushing each other away is just not working, and it certainly isn't working for me. That is my time. Thanks for watching the show. Really appreciate it. This is a good turnout. Please leave us some comments, like, share, subscribe. Please join the Useless Agent agency. We really need as many people as possible, and like I said, we give away shit. So if you want a T-shirt or something like that, you can go ahead and talk to us at uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. Remember, as always, if you know anybody suffering through any kind of mental illness or struggling with life itself, please have them email us. Again, that's uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. We will talk to you. We will hang out with you. We will do whatever we can for you because you matter. All right? This is a world where people care so much about people they'll never meet that it should be the only civil duty we really should have is taking care of each other. So we love you, and please subscribe to our shows and watch more videos, check out some more stuff. There's always music, art, different shit on Useless Agent on YouTube. We have plenty of videos to check out. Thank you guys so much for spending the 30 minutes with me.